powerful, whatever your feedback is on today. Yeah, and any particular order, just totally organic.
I'll go first.
Sure.
I think that you have a really great group of kids that are joining the camp this year. They all seem, when we first got here, everyone was so quiet. You could hear a pin drop in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And once they went through the activity, answered those questions, everyone seemed to come alive. They had really good answers.
Yeah.
They showed a good level of maturity and thought-provoking kind of answers, I think. I think they're going to be, I think the program will really benefit them a lot, which is what the program is designed to do, to generate interest and expose kids to, all fields of agriculture. I think they'll get a lot out of it. I think they'll walk away with a lot.
Right. And if you could express your name and your relation to the program.
My name is Tammy Lowry, and I am with the Department of Agriculture, Office of Civil Rights, Diversity, and Inclusion in APHIS, and I'm the program manager for AgDiscovery nationwide.
Okay. APHIS is an acronym, right?
APHIS, yes, it's the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Louis Petersen. I am one of the assistant directors here at the Cooperative Extension Service at UVI, specifically assistant director for the St. Thomas St. John district of our office. And with respect to AgDiscovery, I'm one of 3 co-directors. And I do agree with you, Ms. Lowry. I not only believe, I really feel strongly that we have a good setup. 20 participants this year. I say so for many reasons. When we just came in, yes, they were very quiet. Once we broke the ice, they came to life.
They did.
And they interacted well. I was really pleased about the camaraderie. Sometimes you have programs with students and it takes quite a while, if they ever start to gel. And this wasn't more than 2 hours before they started to gel. And it's a good sign in that regard, but it's also a good sign because, as you said in their responses, they seem to all have a very broad view of life beyond where they are and where they live. They seem to all have a certain sensitivity to the need to improve the world beyond where they live and for people to live better together. And you heard it come out so many times when they spoke about what they would do to change the world. So I feel that we have a great opportunity to prepare them even more for doing the things that they want to do, academically and otherwise, in making the world a better place. And that's what we kept emphasizing. Academics is a big portion, we make it happen, but we also try our best to develop those social skills to create a better community. So off to a good start.
Kai Nielsen, CEO of VIX LLC and site coordinator for the APHIS AgDiscovery program here at the University of Virgin Islands. Again, I have high standards and my expectations were definitely met. I think we expect that when you have a selection process that chooses 1 in every 3 students to be selected for one of the programs, you do expect a high caliber of student to come through. I think tonight we saw that. It was beautiful. Literally I got goosebumps because you don't want to have those kids lose the passion to change the world because they are the future. And that's what we're just here to do. Not only give them bits and pieces of wisdom, like I said earlier, but have them see that, hey, there are ways that they can actually help world hunger. If I had a chance to answer the question, I would have just wanted everybody to have a box garden. Just taking reasonable steps towards those goals is kind of what I'm here for. So I'm definitely pleased. And being that this is my 2nd year with the program, I'm goosebumpy. I'm seeing that this is going to be a special year. So thank you for all your support, especially being here with the technical side, because I do think it's important that we document this. What a special time we're in, where we could have a program of this caliber here in the Virgin Islands, especially in a time where we're in an agriculture desert, right? Like 98% of our food is imported. So the fact that a program could be here inspiring local youth to send me emails. I got emails saying, hey, I want to be part of AgDiscovery. I have 4 in the past 24 hours. So thank you again for the opportunity, and I hope to do my part in this journey.
Thanks for being on board, Kai.
Appreciate that.
It's wow, but one of the things that I always come back to is that when you look at our young people people, and you look at the quote-unquote problems that kind of revolve around them, is I'm very clear that the young people are not the problem. They are a continuous source of inspiration. For me, I know in my work with 4-H, I'm not at all surprised at what we heard tonight, but am I inspired? Yes, absolutely. I think again, when I'm looking forward to them being able to rub shoulders with our 4-Hers. I'm so pleased to see 3 young people from the Virgin Islands as a part of this mix, and I really truly thank APHIS for being here and sponsoring so that our young people can have that opportunity. But I'm also equally inspired by the fact that they made the cut, and they're competitive. And I'm again assuming the highest standard, that the counselors that you see here are a team of 4-H members that came up through the system. That again, they can all aspire and inspire and really really make the world a better place. And I think too, Kai, you brought up a very important point in the sense that I think we need to turn around now and ask them that yes, there's some lofty goals there's some ways, but what are the things that they can do where they're at with the resources that we have, with the abilities that they're presented with? What could they do to start practical steps in getting that little bit of change from their little locus, and then let it spread out? So if it's doing a box garden, or if it's making sure that there's clean water, our kids do a hunger banquet. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do. So it's so inspirational to see it all the time. They're fun.
I mean, it's helping them actualize their dreams. And I think that's what we're here for.
Yes,
We've been exposed to the real world and the barriers, bureaucracy. So if I can tell them the little things that help them get closer to that dream, that's what we're here for. I mean, that's the best teachers we've had in our lives, the one that actually helped us realize the things that are practical. And I think what we heard tonight was very realistic. I mean, the fact that we can hear the youth speak about wanting to change prejudice is amazing, And the fact that we've met our goals that we've set. Last year we said, hey, we want a couple Virgin Islanders in the program. And we've met that by the second year. I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about it because I was here for that. We were really, I think disappointed is a heavy word, but we were kind of like discouraged. Like, why aren't our kids being exposed to it? Because these kids are exposed to some of the best agricultural techniques, the farmers, equipment, technology, right in this program in these next 2 weeks. And our local youth have no exposure to that. So that's kind of where I'm at in life. Hey, I want to make sure our local youths get exposed to this stuff. So to see our little program is expanding, like you're saying, we're up to 46 applicants. That's 1 in 2 kids. That's competitive. I mean, Lafayette was 49% acceptance rate. We're higher than that now. So to see that kids are gravitating towards the program is awesome. And to have the manager here, and she's so supportive, I mean, it's really, really something noteworthy.
Very much so. I also wanted to add a word of commendation to you, Ms. Lowry, and the entire team at APHIS from the beginning until now, being so supportive of this idea, this initiative. Even to the point of helping us to work through a solution to the fact that we had no local participants last year. I requested, could we continue using the funds beyond the program, beyond the camp, so that we can do some outreach in the schools? And of course, the office agreed.
Absolutely.
We have seen the results of that.
Absolutely.
So we thank you very much for that. And I think we're going to take it even another step, because I began to realize, even though we had more applicants, a few still didn't get in. And I think I identified a few reasons why, which is now going to add to my outreach when I go to the schools as to certain things to focus on. One of them, for example, that I clearly found out is that when it comes to the part of the application that asks about classes taken in agriculture, our students is at a disadvantage. Most of our schools, if not all, have no courses in agriculture because we have things to fix, and just put it that way. But the point is, somebody recommended to me, why not have them come to some of our courses when we have a course like extension or experimentation? They can put it on their resume. And that helps.
Absolutely.
So I wasn't thinking that before. So now with that in my background from observation, when I go to the schools this time around, we can discuss that. And then the second thing that I saw in the applications that caused the scores to be low for our students is that we would ask about your experience, volunteerism or otherwise, in the field of agriculture. The ones that score the highest are ones that were perhaps volunteered at farmers' facilities, farmers' operations, or at humane societies. Why not? So that again will be a part of my presentation when I speak to the students. Expect this to happen, expect this to be an application, but this is a way to address it ahead of time. So it's a growing experience.
It is.
It's a work in progress and a work of love. Yeah.
Well, you all are certainly on the right track.
One of the things, if I might add too, and I think we all would recall actually from last year, and I'm looking forward to this so much so this year too, is that I think we so often take for granted what is really important and special and unique about our location. And it was very interesting to hear so many of the kids, matter of fact, almost to the person last year, say that one of the things that they were most struck by was the fact that here we have farmers who basically are the most resourceful people they've ever seen. They have a better appreciation for small agriculture. I could remember, one kid commenting about how one of the farms that we'll go to again, and how they reduced, reused, repurposed, recycled so much in order to just put the farm together, but they did it in such a way that it looked presentable and all of these kinds of things. So they were struck by the seeming challenge, but the ease with which farmers and producers met those challenges. And it was a very, very different perspective for so many of them. And you might recall too, when we went to Grantley's farm, and they were talking about, one of the young men was talking about the fact that he was chuckling at Grantley's little 3-bottom plow. And he was saying, he said, but on our farm, my father has a 36-bottom plow. And so the economies of scale and that perspective was something that they all took away from that was a very positive thing for them. And so therefore I think sometimes it helps our kids better understand, this isn't so bad. This is, we've got something unique and something that people can learn from and grow from and develop from. And hopefully we foster a little bit better sense of pride, I think, in what we do here and what we can call our own. But sometimes we just, we don't really fully appreciate that.
A quick point to that. These kids have so much to bring to the table. I mean, you're talking about kids that live on farms from the beginning of life. They're pushing cows, like they say. Last year we had a kid that had over 4,000 acres, farmland that he would do by himself. So again, when I said that my expectations were met, it's not that I'm being pompous. It's literally that these kids are coming from some diverse backgrounds, and they themselves have so much to teach us. And that was going to be what I want to get from this program is, hey, I want to be exposed to what you're from and what you're doing, because that exchange of knowledge is what makes this such a fertile ground for growth for the Virgin Islands. And my last point really is, I see that the torch is being passed. And I think that's something that we don't really do in the Virgin Islands, and we're sitting here with an ex-commissioner. I love to point that out. Like, how many programs have an ex-commissioner in it? That's the head that is really continuing this advocacy work in his territory. I think that's beautiful, and I think that there's something that everybody could learn from a moment like this. Being part of the younger generation coming up, it's now my duty to make sure that I expose the youth more than I was exposed to agriculture. So actively pursuing different partnerships and relationships, and making sure I force these two individuals, including Ms. Tammy, that's 3, to, hey, give me some wisdom, pass off something, call this person for me, because I'm here trying to continue your legacy. And making sure to always pay homage to that is so key. So I definitely love how this program is fostering that kind of environment.
And to wrap it up, there are people in the Virgin Islands and children in the Virgin Islands, and we're in the Virgin Islands, which is why we're focusing on it. Because as Kai is mentioning, it's happening other places. I'm sure other places need help too, but we really, really need to help to get the word out to those young people in the Virgin Islands because of the average age of the farmers in the Virgin Islands. We need it to be passed on. About the AgDiscovery program, if you could just kind of sum up a little bit about the AgDiscovery program itself, and then maybe how the Virgin Islands got involved.
Okay. Well, AgDiscovery is funded by the federal government, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, for the most part. We do have a couple of other USDA agencies that have come on board recently this year and provide funding as well. We have 22 universities that are currently in the program. As we mentioned, the Virgin Islands, this is their second year. It's been a very successful year. Marketing is done at the university level, APHIS counterparts all throughout the United States, and also my office, the Office of Civil Rights, we do a mass mailing, about 800 or so brochures every year to educators, teachers, middle school and high schools, and some other youth organizations. So we do everything we can to get the word out and promote the program as much as possible. I've noticed over the past year or two that it seems like we are getting even more interest. We've had at least 7 universities that want to become a part of AgDiscovery and host a program at their locations. Because of funding, that's not going to happen next year, but who knows what happens in the future. But the program has grown a lot very quickly. It started off with one program back in 2002, and it was a pilot program between APHIS and Alcorn State University in Mississippi. And it was received really well, and make a long story short, more schools showed interest, and it kept growing and growing and growing, and now we're up to 22. And I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity for students to experience something different. Of course, the kids that have a real interest in agriculture already or have some experience in 4-H or future farmers or things like that, they benefit from it too. But we get a lot of students that, they'll apply because they see that it's something different and they don't really know what they want to get out of it. But when they leave, they have a better idea. They have some vision for the future. I've heard that from quite a few parents. And in addition to marketing, on our end and with the universities and other APHIS counterparts, a lot of people find out about it just by word of mouth. I get calls all year round from teachers and parents and some students, and they'll say, I just heard about this, either someone I know attended, and I never knew about this program before. They want more information, and then teachers and counselors at different schools will ask me to send them a supply of brochures, and they will, I don't know if some of them may select kids that they think will really benefit from the program, and then when they send in the applications, they'll send me a whole envelope full. School here did that.
Which school was that?
I have to look it up, but it was on the verge in
bulk?
Yeah, she sent me like 10 of them, 10 or 12.
That's
Yeah,
good.
and she had called me. She was in touch with me a couple times
That's good.
because she wanted to know if her first question was, can I submit a group of applications, in one package, or do they have to be sent separately? And I said, sure, you can send them all to me, and she did. And then she, some of them applied for, Virgin Islands, and some didn't.
Of course.
So, you think about it. I think about my kids.
Want to get somewhere else.
Right, they want to go somewhere different, And she couldn't understand that. She said, I can't believe it. I said, well, I kind of do because I have 2 daughters. I mean, they're a little older than, now. But if it were them and they're looking at a brochure, University of Maryland is like up the street from us. They wouldn't apply. They wouldn't want to apply there. Right, they would want to come here. Yeah, so. I mean, it's just all how you have to kind of think out of the box too, and I think you all have some really good ideas for even future growth. The number of applications from their first year has already increased, second year, and I won't be surprised if they increase even more by next year. But the program, a lot of people find out about it just by word of mouth, and that's always a good thing because they get to hear from students that actually attended. They tell their friends, they tell their friends. Parents tell other parents. I've gotten calls like that from a couple programs that have wrapped up this summer from a parent, and she said, I heard, friend of mine's daughter went there, and I just want to know, which programs, specialize more in plants, and things like that. So they look at their own interests, and then they find a program in AgDiscovery that matches. And like I said, they spread the word, which is a good thing.
Very good thing.
Dr. Petersen, how did you find out about AgDiscovery, and what was the process in helping the Virgin Islands to then become a part of it?
Well, to tell you the truth, my initial awareness of AgDiscovery went back to somewhere around 2003 or 4. Someone mentioned it to me, a friend from Mississippi, and I had never heard about it. So I made a few calls to find out more, and I spoke to your previous director,
Ken Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, and he gave me lots of information, what I need to do, and I was better informed. I said to him, okay, that sounds like a good thing, and consistent what we want to do, so we're going to get back with you. But you see, shortly after that, I left the agency. And I realized I couldn't take it with me either, because they had to be a university-sponsored program. So my emphasis, my direction began elsewhere, doing what I had to do with the Department of Agriculture. And as I began to transition, getting back to UVI, I asked myself, what do I do and where do I go? It was at that point in time when I had learned that the customary summer forage program was kind of not happening. And there were a lot of requests for some initiative. And right away, AgDiscovery came back to mind. I think I traveled somewhere shortly before I came back, and I saw the brochure again. So it was within week number 1 in 2015 when I got back, when I called Mr. Johnson again. And I realized that at that time, there weren't many new schools on board for quite a few years, like you said. And so when I asked, the answer was yes, we are supportive, however, do you have money? And I said, no, we have no money. And we went around for a little while because we had no money and you didn't expect to hear from me. And it was you or Miss Kirby, Sophia Kirby, who said to me, we'll get back to you. We'll be thinking about something, working on something. Didn't know what she was talking about. And I did get a call. And I was called and informed, quite to my surprise, but to my pleasure, that specifically the Office of Civil Rights, Diversity and Inclusion will sponsor you. And that's how we got on board. 2015 approval, in time for the next year, 2016.
And that's how it kind of starts. Usually, people will reach out to us that are interested, and then we have to look at a number of things, which is funding available. And we go to the director, we'll go to different programs within APHIS and ask them, are you interested in sponsoring another AgDiscovery program? We'd like to bring it on board. And with the Virgin Islands, with Ken, the former director, he came to me and he told me, I want to bring this one on. So I'm going to talk to, he named a couple people, and at the next big management team meeting of the administrators, senior deputies and people like that in APHIS, and get somebody to sponsor the Virgin Islands. And I said, well, that's great, because it will be a little bit different, international flavor,
Yes. I don't mind that at all.
And I thought it was time to add a new program.
Excellent.
We had stated that number. We had 17 programs for quite a while, and then we got up to 19, and now we're up to 22. I think we're going to kind of level off here, I think.
Excellent. Okay, well, at this point, I want to just thank you all for taking a moment to reflect on, this is day 1, AgDiscovery 2017, on the Albert A. Sheen campus of the University of the Virgin Islands. Just year number 2 for UVI, but obviously it's off to an excellent start, and it's going to be a really wonderful 2 weeks that's going to feel like 2 hours after it's all done. After it's all done. So if you could just share some contact information, how people can find out more, and that's all I want to ask of you this evening, because I know we're all tired.
Certainly. The brochure for 2018 will be available online by early January 2018, and that will include the new dates for next summer for the programs, and the application as well will be online. It's on APHIS's website, which is www.aphis, that's APHIS, USDA.gov/AgDiscovery, which is all one word. And the information will be up, like I said, by early January.
Excellent.
My last comments are words of thanks to you, Ms. Cooper, for being on board with us. As we said, it's a growing program for us, and one of our new additions this year is having our ag communications person on board with us to document from beginning to end what we are doing and to get the word out even for those who might be interested next year. So this is a new addition, and we thank you for doing your part.
Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
awesome.
it. Mhm.
Thank you. All right, so throw the hashtags AgDiscovery, St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, UVI Cooperative Extension Service. You had a business that you...
Oh, VI Collaborative Solutions LLC.
VI Collaborative Associations, LLC.
Yes.
4-H, you didn't mention your name, so I'm going to come back to you so you can do that now.
Certainly. Sarah Dahl-Smith, Extension Specialist, 4-H Youth Development. And if we want to hashtag 4-H grows here in the Virgin Islands.
There we go. There we go.
We also want to be mindful of our other partner in this, which is the Agricultural Experiment Station here
Yes.
at UVI.
AES, Dr. Godfrey.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so thank you all again,
Okay,
and
you're
we'll
welcome.
see you all online later.
Okay.
That's great. Nice touch.
Yes.
Yes, very nice.